All right, let's talk about something wild. How could a brand like Porsche, one of the most stable, iconic, profitable brands on the planet, face a near-total collapse? It's a crazy story about just how fast things can fall apart.
It all boils down to this one absolutely staggering number, 99%. Just try to wrap your head around that. The entire operating profit of a giant like Porsche, a symbol of precision engineering, just gone, wiped out. A 99% drop, hypothetically, in a single year.
Seeing the number is one thing, but looking at it like this really drives it home. On one side, you've got peak Porsche, a total profit machine. And on the other, the forecast for 2025 in this scenario, well, it's barely even a rounding error. That's the sheer scale of the crisis we're talking about.
So you have to ask, right? How on earth does this happen? How could a brand that seemed to do everything right for so long suddenly get everything so wrong? It's like watching a giant hit a brick wall at full speed.
To really get our heads around a potential disaster like this, we need to basically perform an autopsy. We're going to dissect the anatomy of this crisis piece by painful piece.
The first thing you've got to understand is that a collapse of this size is never, ever from a single mistake. This wasn't just a bad sales quarter or one product that flopped. Nope, this was a perfect storm, where a bunch of different crises all hit at the exact same time.
So here's our game plan for breaking this down. We're looking at three distinct forces that all fed into each other. A threat from the outside they never saw coming, a massive miscalculation they made internally, and maybe most importantly, a full-blown identity crisis right at the heart of the brand.
Okay, let's start with that external threat. And to do that, we've got to go to the biggest, fastest-moving car market in the world, China. You see, for decades, the legacy car makers thought their competition was, well, other legacy car makers. But they were looking in the completely wrong direction. The real threat wasn't coming from Germany or Detroit. It was coming from Shenzhen. We're talking about these super agile, tech-first EV startups that were backed by a massive home market that was just starving for the next big thing. And this slide just nails the problem perfectly. Porsche comes out with a Taycan, right? An amazing piece of engineering, no doubt. But then a company like Xiaomi, the company that makes your phone, drops the SU7. And it's not just a car. It's pitched as a piece of tech first, something that fits right into the digital life people already have. See the difference? Porsche was selling a performance car. Xiaomi was selling a lifestyle gadget on wheels. So that pressure from China was just immense. But the real damage? That happened when it collided with a huge mistake made inside Porsche's own walls. This is what we're calling the innovation trap. Porsche basically bet the entire farm on the Taycan. It was supposed to be their Tesla killer, their golden ticket to the electric future. And hey, for a minute there, it looked like it was working. But here's the thing. The EV market moves at the speed of software, not steel. While Porsche was stuck in these long traditional car development cycles, their new rivals were updating and innovating constantly, which made the Taycan feel old, way faster than anyone expected.
This quote just perfectly sums up the whole strategic blunder. They built an electric car, but they forgot to build the next Porsche. The Taycan was a brilliant EV for sure, but in the rush to chase a trend, it lost some of that special sauce, that driving DNA, the very soul that makes a Porsche feel like a Porsche.
And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most fatal, piece of the puzzle, Porsche's decision to basically walk away from the very thing that made them so successful for decades.
You can just see the drift on this timeline. Through the mid-2010s, their success was built on heritage models, like the 911. High margin, rock solid, people loved them. But then the pivot to EVs started, kind of slow at first, and then it turned into this all-out sprint to chase every new tech trend out there.
And here it is, the heart of the matter. They traded a proven money-making strategy for a massive gamble. The heritage model? It gave them incredible profit margins and unwavering brand loyalty. The new tech bet? It threw them headfirst into a brutal, lower-margin market where their legendary name just didn't mean as much.
So you put all three of those things together, the shock from China, the internal fumble with the Taycan, and throwing away their core business, and suddenly, this hypothetical 99% collapse starts to make a terrifying amount of sense. So, what's the big lesson here? What can we learn from this cautionary tale?
Well, the lessons here go way beyond just the car industry. First off, your next big competitor might not look anything like you. Heck, it could be a phone company. Second, innovation has to make your brand more of what it is, not erase it. Third, chasing trends is just a recipe for disaster. You end up losing what makes you special. And finally, that profitable, boring core business, that's not baggage, that's your anchor. It's what gives you the stability to actually go and innovate without betting the whole company.
And that's why this story, even as a what-if, is so important. It's a massive wake-up call that nobody is too big to fail. Any company, it doesn't matter how profitable or how beloved, can be brought to its knees by the right combo of outside disruption and bad internal decisions.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. In an age where everything is constantly changing, where technology just rewrites the rules overnight, is any legacy, any brand truly safe? Thanks for joining us.